Hey everyone, so in this video I'm going to run through and describe the concept for a game which I'll be programming as the project for my distributed programming module. If anyone has any comments on the concept, design or mechanics of the game, I'd appreciate the feedback, so just please leave a comment below if you do. Seeing as this video is probably going to get a bit long, I'll run through the basic concept and setting first before getting into the heavier areas such as the game flow and mechanics. So if your attention starts waning, you'll have a basic just of the idea anyway. Okay, so to get into the concept. When we were coming up with the concept and the idea for the game, we only really had three constraints. That it had to be a text-based game made in C++, similar to that of like Zork. That it had to be playable over the internet or a network, and that everyone in our class could join a match at the same time, which is in around 14 to 20 people. Okay, so my concept for the game is called XK-Vation. It's basically a text-based team deathmatch, where players are spawned randomly around a map of 42 rooms. They can move between the rooms using commands such as north, south, east and west, similar to Zork. Whenever a player enters a new room, it checks to see if there's an enemy in that room, and if there is, it goes into the battle system. The battle system is turn-based, so it means that your team takes its go first, and then the other team takes its go, and it repeats until one team has completely died. The battle system isn't just a 1v1 system. If any of your allies or the enemy's allies walk into the room while you're in the middle of battle, they're added to their respective teams. When it is the player's turn, they can either attack or use an ability they have equipped. You can get more abilities by equipping X kits, but I'll talk more about these later, and you can only have 3 abilities equipped at any one time. If a player dies, it respawns them randomly around the map. For either team to win the match, they have to have a higher score than the other team when the match time runs out. To increase their score, they can win battles, or they can find special X-kits around the map. In any match, there are only 4 X-kits that are spawned in the map, and they're spawned in the same position every time, in every match. So this kind of allows players to know where to go and navigate their way there, so it'll create competition around the areas. When a player picks up one of these special X-kits, their score is increased and the X-kit is added to the team. So when the match ends, a random number is generated and it decides which player receives the X-kit. They can then keep that and equip it for the next match if they want to. The match ends after all 4 of these special X-kits have been picked up, which is roughly about at a minimum of 60 minutes of in-game time. And then the players are returned to the lobby. After the match, each player earns a currency which they can then spend in the shop to buy more X-kits. Of course, the winning team earned a lot more money than the losing team did. That's basically it for how the game works, so I'll just get on to a bit of the setting and backstory for it now. The game is set in an alternate version of 1930s London. Not that it'll have much of an effect on the game setup and all that, just to kind of give the story more of a fleshed out feel to it. Vast assumedly man-made caverns have been found beneath London of unknown origins. The caverns have a really strong magnetic field, which makes it impossible to bring any guns or metal equipment down into the caverns. The explorer who discovered these caves, Dr. Xander Stone, saw the risks of venturing any deeper, but he also saw the business potential. There are great treasures to be found in these caverns, strange technology that allows humans to temporarily acquire strange abilities, ranging from increased rates of regeneration to increased muscle tension. These technologies were aptly named Xander kits. Dr. Xander's peers cleverly adapted this to X-kits as an inside dig at Xander's addiction to the sexually perverse. The lowbrow public, however, further shortened this to XKs. Dr. Xander managed to claim ownership of the entire underground network and turned it into a business venture, which meant he could charge admission to the caves. This attracted all sorts of treasure hunters who came from all across the world to acquire these X-kits. Knowing the types of people he was sure to attract, he designated the area as a lawless state, which meant that anything goes and people could kill each other. It was just so basically his business could avoid prosecutions. The law enforcement made it deadly for individual treasure hunters to venture into the caverns, so this quickly led to the establishment of the treasure hunting guilds, groups of people who craved wealth and adventure, who banded together to venture forth and excavate X-kits and destroy the rivaling treasure hunters. You as the player take on the role of an ambitious treasure hunter who desires to acquire rare X-kits and ascend the hierarchy of the guild to fame. Okay, so now I'm just going to talk a bit about the game flow and the mechanics. Players can connect to the server through a telnet client. So most computers have these telnet clients, you just have to turn them on in the services. They enter the IP address and the port number of the server, and then use their username and password to log into the game lobby. Here they can chat to other players who are also in the lobby and look for a match with free space or join a match. When they join a match, they are sent to the match lobby and placed on the team of least players. In the lobby, they can buy and sell perks in the shop with the currency they earned from the games, or they can chat to people who are still in the lobby. If there are four more people in the match lobby, a timer begins to count back from 30. If the amount of players falls below 4, the timer resets. So you always have an even team or a random amount of people in the match. When the timer reaches 0, the game begins. The players are spawned pseudo randomly around the map. They are given 30 seconds at the start of the map to talk strategy with the other players and set up their X kits. And the goal of the game is to get a higher score than the other team with the points for the following: exploring areas, beating enemies in the combat, getting rare X kits. I've already gone over those. The players navigate the map looking for players to kill, teammates to party up with, and the rare perks run. If a player enters a room with one or more enemies in it, they'll both be warned and enter combat. So I've pretty much gone over most of the game mechanics. It's just here in writing if you need more details on it. The player attributes. This is for every player that's in the game. They've got these certain things stored about them. There will be the username, the password, total score, currency, owned X kits. These are the ones they've either bought from the store or they found in a match. So they're ones that are permanently on the player, and these are all stored in the database. They've got matches played, matches won, kills, deaths, and pretty much a list of players who they can talk to. When they're in the game, they've also got like the different things like the health, their agility, strength, magic. Their agility kind of defines how well they are how good they are at avoiding attacks. Strength is how strong they are. Magic, how strong their magic is, or the X kits they have are. And defense, how well they can endure the damage from strength and magic. The map position, whichever the room they're in, which will kind of be tested to see if an enemy's in the same room. They're equipped X kits, which are, you have 3 slots to equip X kits in. This will kind of like increase the need for strategy between players, so they can kind of figure out who's doing what they need equipped, and how they can work together. The X kits inventory are all the X kits you own and the X kits you gain from the start of the match. They've also got the in-match score, the list of weaknesses which are defined by whatever X kit you equip, which I'll talk more about just in a few minutes, and the state, which is used for kind of the battle, whether they're stunned, paralysed, or things like that. I'll just go over a few of the commands that are recognised by the program now, by the server. So for the normal player, they can go like north, south, east or west, or any shortcuts to move in any directions. They can type in players to show a list of the players who are in the match. They can chat, or so they can either just enter the normal message or type in chat in the message. They can examine objects. They can make the server restate what it said about the room. So like anytime you enter a new room, it describes the room, like, you know, there's a brush in the corner, there's something to, like a cupboard that you might want to open, so it'll restate that in case you need to see what's there again. You can pick up objects, so this will only really be for X kits that are around the level. So if there's an X kit in the room, you can go pick up X kit and it's added to your inventory. You can quit. You can equip an X kit using this command. You choose the X kit and the slot to equip it to, and it replaces the X kit that's in that slot. You can check your inventory for a list of X kits that you have on you. You can trade with other players, which it's not really a trade, it's more just you choose the X kit, you choose the player you want to give it to, and if they're on the same team as you, it gives it to that person. It doesn't need their consent. You can open a container. This is like a cupboard. You press O and the cupboard name, and then it opens it and tells you whatever's inside it. You can close it as well, and you can type in stats to give the stats of your character. And when you're in combat, you have attack, A, hit or H, all do the same thing. They all just plain attack, and then your X kit ability, you put in the name of that ability and the target player. That'll do it. It'll display a list of your possible abilities on screen when you're in combat. As for god players or moderators, they can use all the commands that players could use. They can kick people, they can force a person to log out, and they can ban a person temporarily, so this will start a waiting period, and when that's over they can play again. And they can also message all players who are online at the moment, be it in a match or in the lobby. An admin can further use all of God Player's commands. They can also promote people to gods, promote people to administrators, permanently ban people using FBan, which stands for full ban. Or they can shut down the server. They can end any matches, and they can also unban players, be it permanent or the temporary bans. Okay, now on to X-Kits. As I said, they're abilities that can be equipped to a player to improve their stats or give them special abilities. Players are given a selection of default X-Kits at the start of the match. These are all pretty much all common X-Kits that can be bought or found very easily. They have to choose 3 of them at the very start of the match, whether you're going to equip them or not. Medium to weak X-Kits can also be bought in the shop, or found by examining the environment, and only the rarer ones can be found in special rooms. The special rooms, I've gone over these a bit earlier on, but sure, special rooms are in the exact same place on the map every time. After game time has reached a minute, the X-Kit spawns. If a team earns a rare X-Kit at the end of the game, the roulette wheel method, depending on in-game score, decides which player it goes to. This means that a random number ultimately decides who gets those X-Kits, but a higher score gives a higher chance of attaining it. I've said this as well. The player has 3 slots in which they can equip X-Kits, but at the start of the game you can only equip an X-Kit of type Aid in slot 1, Combat in slot 2, and Passive in slot 3. After the initial setup, these X-Kits can be interchanged with any X-Kit. I forgot to change perk to X-Kit there, X-Kit in your inventory. When you're in the game, you can also temporarily give an X-Kit to another player, be it one you own or one that you chose at the start of the match. After the match, if you own the X-Kit, it is returned to you, and the default ones are removed from any player's inventory. This allows for more creative and possibly more effective character builds when you interact with your team and plan what X-Kits to choose. For instance, player 1 and player 2 from Team A could choose a Strength X-Kit as their first ability. Player 1 could give player 2 their Strength X-Kit, which player 2 equips in slot 1, giving them an even bigger boost. In the 30-second startup time, it would be ideal for team members to identify what roles they need, like healer, high damage, stuff like that, and what X-Kits to choose for trading. X-Kits can be equipped at any time during a match. Here's just a list of some of the X-Kits that are that you can find in the game, and some of the things that they do. So that every X-Kit that's equipped, it gives you a boost to magic. If it's common +5, uncommon +10, rare +20, and certain X-Kits give you weaknesses to different things. Okay, so common ones are the usual things you'd think of, as in, increase your strength, agility, defense, and health. Then Psychic. You can't use this in battle. It's kind of an ability you can only use around the map, but you need it to be able to pick up X-Kits in any room. So if you want to get the higher score, you need at least one person with the Psychic on your team. Heal. Usual thing, you can choose a player to heal. Fireball, Splash, normal, magic damage. Corrupt is a damage over time. It also gives the player a weakness to white. And Fireball and Splash give weakness to red and blue respectively. Stuns the target for 1 go, but equipping this perk gives your player -10 agility. More uncommon ones, again the same as the starting ones, just stronger, more increased to strength, agility, defense, and health. Cure removes any status ailment such as stun or the damage over time. If it's used on a player who has weakness to white, it gives that player a random status ailment instead, seeing as this spell is white. Regen heals the player over time. Teleport is another ability to be used outside of battle, which moves the player to the same room as another player. Morale is a passive ability, which means it's always on, so when you go into battle it'll automatically be applied. It increases all your team stats by 5, but if you equip it you get defense -10. Depress is the opposite of that. It decreases all your enemies' stats by 5, but also gives you -10 defense. Fire Blast and Fire Wall are just stronger versions of the previous spells. Dark Side is another version of Corrupt. Steal allows a player to steal an X-Kit from one of their enemies, but it can only be used twice per battle. And if the X-Kit was owned by someone, it's returned to them after the battle.